Dominik Walter. I'm the head of design at StrideSource.
Awesome. Well, we've got a number of questions from our customers and potential customers, things that come up a lot, and I thought that it would be important to kind of dispel some myths about Stride, things that yeah will help everybody become more confident and understand what they're purchasing, if that's okay with you guys.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So one question that I get a lot of times is regarding the durability of the orthotics. So just to quote a customer, these customers are much more flexible and thin than my current orthotics. As such, I don't expect they will last anywhere as long. So can we talk a little bit about durability of, let's just start with the durability of the material and what type of material we use for our Stride Soul orthotics.
Upper material, so you mean the top cover?
No.
Or did I get that wrong?
Bottom. Yeah.
Bottom material. Well, first of all, it's on purpose that we manufacture the orthotics a little thinner, right? Because you want to fit them in as many shoes of yours as possible. So if you make like those thick bricks, you will have to buy bigger shoes with more volume. We try to fit the orthotics into every shoe. So that's first of all. Concerning durability, we have to explain our approach, of course. We want to change the situation by changing the cause of issues. That means, again, I can only repeat here, we're working in a muscle stimulating way. Our insoles are a training device. So, and with every training, it's the same. At one point, you have to intensify the load or intensity. And usually the material itself outlives the shoes. That's not a problem. But we think that at a certain stage, after a while, like maybe a year, it's time to think about new orthotics because your situation changed. And then we want to like start from that new basis with new orthotics to get a higher training impulse. So material outlives the shoe, but you should think about changing the load after a while.
How long do you think that let's say you didn't get a different pair, you just stayed with the same one, how long would it last? Would just like the TPU, and can you talk about like the TPU itself?
Well, TPU is a proven material that we also use in our orthopedic foot clinic in Germany for all our customers. How long it lives, it's like if you would ask people how long their tires last for the car. It depends. It depends on your weight. It depends on the shoes you're wearing. It depends on how much you walk. Do you use them for running? Do you use them for just a regular walk the dog? So it depends. It's hard to tell.
Okay. How long have you had yours in your shoes, Dominik?
Well, I shouldn't say because, as I said, usually I should intensify after a while the load. But frankly, I have them in my working shoes like for 1.5 years. Mine now. Should I take them out? Let's take a look.
Sure.
I have mine in my shoes since 2023, summer 2023. So that's 2.5 years.
So mine, they're a bit out of shape here, but that's just the shoe shape that it follows. And like from the top, you see some use, like my foot imprinted here. But in terms of the shape, it's still good, right? And that's also something. If you wear a big shoe that doesn't support the insole, shoes and insoles or orthotics are working in a symbiosis. If you have a shoe that stabilizes the orthotics will live way longer than if you wear like super wide shoes where your foot can stretch down or press down the orthotics. So it's a combination of both. In my case, I wear this Ultra shoe with a nice heel cup. It's very stable in the heel. and therefore the orthotic after 1.5 years still looks good. I mean, it's a bit filthy, of course, on the bottom and then on top, but that's not to avoid,
Awesome.
I guess.
Thank you for that. Okay, and maybe number 2 question we get is about feeling uncomfortable when you first get the orthotic. That they were expecting it to feel amazing, but it feels weird. What are they experiencing, and is that normal?
Yes. Usually we recommend wearing the orthotics like for 2 hours per day in the first week, 4 hours in the second week, because your body needs to get used to it. It's like, again, it's a training device. If you start 0 to 100, you'll have super sore muscles. Everything will be in pain in a way. Our orthotics are not designed to treat the symptoms. So we're not just painkiller pills. We want to treat the cause of the symptoms. So we have to go one step back, change the whole body structure, the dynamic, the statics, and that might go along with some sore muscles and adaptation process. Though it can feel uncomfortable. That's totally normal, but it can never cause pain. If it causes pain, there's something wrong. You have to get in touch with us, explain what's wrong, where the pain occurs, and you need to maybe adjust a bit. But being uncomfortable at the beginning is absolutely normal and also wanted. And you're muted, Greg.
Understood. Okay. Yes, Zach, do you have any other questions to add as I pull up some other from some customers? We can come back to my topics later.
Well, I have like a series of questions that actually would be a good jumping off point for kind of what our orthotics are intended to do. I prepared kind of how do I frame it? Let me pull up because I prepared something. So what are the top 5 injuries caused by wearing the wrong type of shoes? So what are very common injuries that people experience, and what are the affiliated or associated shoe types that either cause that injury or don't help make it better? So the most straightforward one is, what sort of shoes contribute the most to plantar fasciitis? Dominic, I'll let you kind of take a stab about like what sort of features the shoes might have that would make plantar fasciitis worse.
Yeah, worsen plantar fasciitis, or like even being the root or the cause of plantar fasciitis, is almost, in a high percentage at least, is soft shoes. Very, very soft shoes that don't support you in any way. Because the foot, if there's a misalignment in the foot, the shoe doesn't prevent it from being misaligned. And then you dive into the soft material, like even extrapolating or intensifying the misalignment. And that's a main cause for plantar fasciitis, alongside of obesity, of course, but also for athletes, high load intensity in combination with wrong shoes. So very soft shoes are a major factor.
Completely agree. And yeah, just to elaborate on what you said, the plantar fascia is this band of tissue at the bottom of the foot. It holds the muscles and ligaments of the foot steady as you move. And if the shoe is too soft, that plantar fascia is going to stretch quite a bit. And where it stretches, it pulls against the calcaneus, or the heel bone where it inserts. That's where there's micro tears in the plantar fascia, and that's where the pain comes from. In addition to super soft shoes, I would say kind of similar vein, but people that have very worn out sneakers. So when the soles of the shoes begin to wear out, it no longer provides a stable surface. The same issue with ultra soft shoes. There can be uneven twisting and contorting. Your body compensates. The plantar fascia stretches, and plantar fasciitis either starts or it gets worse. So that was one. What about shin splints? What sort of shoes or footwear can contribute to shin splints?
It's shin splints. Can you explain first? I don't know if our audience knows what shin splints is, where it occurs, and what the causes of it, and then I will
Sure. So
go to
yeah,
the shoes.
shin splints often afflicts runners, and it is kind of shooting very sharp pain that goes up the shin bone of your foot, and it's related to muscle tightness as well as nerve pain that goes around the shins. Thank you for holding up the model. I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
No, I need it for telling you now or answering your question now. So as you said, right, it's a pain here alongside the shins, the tibia, and there's a skin, or I don't know if it's the same word in English, but in German we call it bone skin, if you want. It's a thin layer around the bone, and that's
It's
very
called the
sensitive.
ostium. The ostium.
Oh, that's a Latin word, yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, great, exactly. And what causes it? We identified two main reasons. First of all, again, here's a muscle. It's called the tibialis anterior, and the tibialis anterior is responsible for extension, so lifting the foot, as well as it goes along here and goes to the inner bone of your foot, so it lifts the arch in a way. So if you pronate a lot, right, so very soft shoes allow pronating, then the tibialis anterior will passively be stretched, wraps along the shin, and then gets inflammation on the bone skin, right? The second is if you have high heels, because what a heel does first, of course, it lifts the calcaneus, and when you set, can you see that? So right, you have your first heel impact, and then you slowly set your forefoot. But if you have increased height of the heel, it will be like a
It's much
lever.
harder.
Is a lever
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
word? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it will like cause a like Donald Duck gait, and this is as well the tibialis anterior tries to hold up the forefoot, but the forces are too high, so it contracts and rubs against the shin, the tibia again, which causes inflammation.
Exactly. Yeah. Nothing to add. So the next type of pain or issue that people experience a lot are bunions and toe pain. And
But wait a second, sorry,
oh,
Zach, to interrupt you, but Greg is looking a bit suspicious. Like you think we explained that okay, or?
I did. Yes. Sorry, I was queuing up my next question.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I thought. Okay, sorry.
well, I'm going to sneak in right before you just for one more type of pain or issue, injury people experience, and that is bunions and toe pain. And Dominic, what type of shoes are contributing the most to bunions and toe pain? Or what feature of shoes?
Slim ones, so
Ye-
very narrow shoes, right? Very pointy shoes. I have a good example here. Shoes that are just like pointy, right? Usually, natural folks, don't know, or native folks that will walk a lot of bare feet, the big toe actually spreads a bit to the inside. And what we do with our shoes, we strap it to the foot, right? And then it causes a luxation of those two bones, those little bones. There's a tendon, so it falls, and then right you develop this bunion. So this
Yeah, exactly.
big
And
toe.
just to kind of emphasize your point, I really like this idea of your foot is not supposed to be like this with the big toe. The big toe was meant as a stabilization to prevent your foot from pronating too much. And it acts to keep the foot kind of level throughout the gait. And I think that's a very kind of easy thing for people to think about. Where's their toe position, big toe position in their shoe? Is there an ability in their shoe to put that big toe out for more stability? If not, you're increasing your risk of bunions and toe pain. So I think that's a really interesting point. And I'll hand it back to you, Greg.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. So we have, actually, I'm going to share a picture here. And what I'm trying to ask you guys is about the memory effect. Maybe Dominic, you can talk about what the top foam layer does and how it actually over time is going to contour to your foot. So here's one that, can you see my screen? There. Okay. Entire screen. We are going to go here. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about why this is normal? Why you're seeing like some depressions here? This is just for everyone's context. This is a used orthotic that a customer came in and had a question about the foam on top.
Yeah, I think there's one misconception about the foam. People think it's for cushioning. That's not really what we want to achieve with the foam, because the foam is very like, you can even compress it with your finger, right? So it doesn't give you any big cushion effect. What it actually does, after a while, it compresses on the high loaded areas. And by that compression, it makes a mold. Let's, for instance, talk about the big toe. The big toe dives into this foam, and the foam has a memory effect. So after a while, it will stay like that. By diving in, we increase the contact area for the big toe, and force or load on a big contact area means lowered pressure. So actually what we do, it's a feature to better distribute pressure over time. So it's not meant to be a big cushioning effect. It's actually a memory foam to, like, after a while, the insole will fit like a glove. If that explains it.
No, I think that's really good. And it hits an important point that is a big differentiator between us and other, let's say, competitors. I don't know if they're really competitors, but they really focus on just being a cushion, just being like a squishy piece of gel or something. But that is not us. That's not our purpose. That's not what we're doing. Do you mind explaining a little bit more, like the what is going on with the other competitors and how that is more of a accommodative versus corrective orthotic? Zach, maybe you want to answer that one.
Yeah. So I'm happy to jump in. Yeah. So the two big categories of custom orthotics, or orthotics in general, are accommodative versus corrective. Accommodative are I would say the lesser kind compared to corrective, because they don't consider your foot architecture and work on ways to improve it to reduce pain and injury long term. They just consider where your pain is and do the best job that they can to alleviate that pain short term. So think of something you'd get at the drugstore, Dr. Scholl's or something CVS brand. They're going to have really big gel pockets, really thick memory foam. And yeah, if you have a part of your foot that hurts a lot, it'll feel good for a little bit. But all orthotics that are made out of gel or foam, they're going to compress over time. Dominic mentioned that's what ours do as well. And as it compresses, the areas that are high pressure are going to experience more and more pressure, and that pain is going to come back. Now, corrective, what we do is to consider where the pain is, but also what is the cause of the pain? How are you walking? What are the associated painful areas in your foot? And by understanding that, we can design orthotics that actually draw pressure away from those pain areas and allow the foot to heal and eventually improve in the long term. Really, the other key difference is that the corrective takes a lot more design expertise than something that's accommodative. And it's, why we have such amazing partners in Germany to do the design.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Excellent. Thank you for that. Yeah, those are the questions that I had from customers and prospective customers this week. I don't know if you guys have anything else. If not, we can wrap things up.
I have one more condition
Go for it.
that may be associated with the wrong type of shoe, and that is Achilles tendonitis. What kind of shoes contribute to people developing or worsening their Achilles tendonitis?
Is not that big of a science. It's again soft shoes. Soft shoes. If you have your Achilles tendon, you know it goes straight up here, right? So it wants to work like flexion extension. That's what it wants to feel the load coming in. But if you pronate a lot or even supinate a lot, like just go with sideways direction over the physiological degrees, then there will be some issues and even micro ruptures of the Achilles tendon. So again, soft shoes. Soft shoes are basically a main cause for a lot of issues. They feel comfortable in the beginning. You feel like, that's soft, that's super. The cushion, I like it, but actually it causes a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's two big takeaways I will leave this podcast with. One is soft shoes are remarkably the root cause of a lot of injuries. And that is kind of counterintuitive. You wouldn't expect it. But I also think rapid changes from one shoe type to another can be a cause of injury. So, for example, Achilles tendonitis happens when there's too much tension and on the Achilles tendon. I know we lost Dominic for a second, but I think I got this. And if you're wearing high heels all the time, your foot is going to be elevated and the Achilles tendon has to shorten. So you can kind of do it with your foot while you're sitting. If you point your toes down, your Achilles tendon gets to shorten, and it should feel good if you have Achilles tendonitis. So people who wear high heels, they get shortened Achilles tendons. Then all of a sudden, if they start using a really soft shoe or something that's really flat, that Achilles tendon is going to extend, and that increases the risk of injury. So rapid changes are also risky. And then the last point I want to make is that the orthotic that we put in your shoe is only as good as the shoe outer sole. So we will do our best to make the most effective and corrective orthotic for you. But if your shoes are too soft, if there's too much variability with each step because of compression or decompression, if it's really worn down, we can only do so much. Everything has to work together. So as you are making your journey to be able to move better, have reduced foot pain, and prevent injury long term, it needs to be a collection of things: the right shoe, the right custom orthotic, and the right activity levels.
Yeah, one thing on that, just because I was listening to the How I Built This episode with the founders of Hoka, which I'd recommend we all listen to, and he was going into the founding of the company, and they were originally built, because it's an example of a super soft shoe. The original origin
for downhill running, right?
It was for downhill running, because they didn't want to feel the rocks or all the basically like trail downhill running, which like maybe in that situation you don't want to feel the rocks.
They're the best for, I highly recommend them for downhill trail running. The problem is that as a doctor, that's what most healthcare workers are wearing, just standing all day on solid, very level floors, or people in the office just standing all day, and they're not getting the downhill running benefits, but they're getting a lot of the increased risks from not standing on a level surface.
Exactly. But yeah, that's it for today. Please submit your questions by email. If you are watching this video, we'll catch them next week. And also,
do you want to make the announcement for our next week's guest? Because what I heard is that we have an AI character. What you said?
We have the venerable Dietmar Walter. He's the patriarch of Stride Soles, really the godfather here, and he's a special guest sharing his story of small town cobbler to world renowned international
Pedorthus.
orthotics, Pedorthus. Yeah, so we're super excited to have him on. So yeah, we're actually probably going to advertise that on the site, I think, too.
Yeah.
People should know about it.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. See you.
Awesome, guys.
Bye.